And in these questions, in this whole session, when Hira will be here with us, the session will go around, like I'll explain step by step. Number one, we will have introduction of the speaker. She explain about herself. We will set up some baseline for the session, what personal branding is, and afterwards we will start taking some different questions from you guys. So I'll expect कि आप लोग अभी से कुछ भी आपके ज़हन में आता है, during talk कोई चीज़ ज़हन में आती है, please take your notes and ask those questions. We want to keep this session very interactive, very engaging, ताकि आपको maximum idea और maximum चीजें समझ में आए कि भाई actual में personal branding है क्या. I'll keep iterating, I'll keep trying कि मैं आप लोगों को questions को iterate कर सकूं. अगर आपको लगता है आपके पीछे noise है, you can put your question into the chat. I'll also recommend open up your cameras. It is great to see your audience if there is a speaker out there. So उनके लिए बड़ा अच्छा होता है कि वो आपको देख सकें. They know who they are talking to. Doesn't matter background कैसा है. हम mic म्यूट कर सकते हैं शोर के लिए, लेकिन हम लोग अगर बातचीत आपस में डायरेक्टली कर रहे हैं तो दैट विल बी वेरी वेरी गुड. क्या ख्याल है? So let's wait for like couple of more minutes and we wait for Hira to join and then let's start. ठीक है? किसी के ज़हन में क्वेश्चन हो तो प्लीज आस्क मी. I'll be happy to answer meanwhile. हाय रुबाब, कैसी हैं आप? ठीक है? रुबाब आपका माइक म्यूट है.
बिल्कुल ठीक है, आप सुनाएं.
अल्लाह का शुक्र, अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह. हाउ द सेशंस गोइंग?
सेशन तो अच्छा जा रहा है.
Very good. Okay, so Hira is here with us. Assalamu alaikum Hira, कैसी हैं आप?
Walaikum salam, Hira. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much, Hira, for joining. So before you joined in, I was giving a brief introduction of yours. So I think we can start like from like with you directly. So मैं एक दोबारा हल्का सा introduction दोबारा दे देती हूँ. सबसे पहले thank you so much, Hira, for joining. Hira is a friend. Hira is a mentor. And I actually like kind of look forward to her as well. Like though we do have same name, so and I am pretty biased about that too. But like literally, Hira is a great person. So Hira के बारे में आप लोगों को पहले भी बताई थी. Those who have joined like afterwards, मैं एक दफा दोबारा बता देती हूँ. So Hira is a CEO and founder for Caterpillars, which is a women-based organization जिसके अंदर Hira help women entrepreneurs to scale their business, to help reach the investment round, जहाँ पर जो है और उसके अंदर different mentorship जो है involve होती है. For that she run this Caterpillars program. I have been the part of that too. और right now Hira is running, I believe, third cohort for that, inshallah. So and she's also attached with GSBI Miller Center for Social Entrepreneurship. That is a part of like in this, which is in the middle of Silicon Valley. If most probably all of you know about that, at least as a buzzword, सबको पता होता है Silicon Valley का. तो उसके अलावा like Hira has been on Atlas Corps as well. Hira is running Tech Geeks. That is like 13,000 plus की community है that she's running. Mostly I know anybody who is a software engineer or has something to freelancing, mostly लोग उस soft house group में होते हैं. I joined that group accidentally and then I came to know okay Hira is there. So that's like that was something that was very interesting for me as well. So I would like now put it to Hira कि आज का जो session है that is about personal branding. That is about how personal what are like personal branding को हम define किस तरह करते हैं, how you can define yourself, how you can define your skills in terms of personal branding, how you can define your passion in terms of that as well. I will take that session towards Hira and let her take it like from here onwards. Starting with Hira, thank you so much once again, and maybe you can go up with your introduction and about the session as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Hira. It feels so great to talk to another Hira. It's always a very surreal feeling to have Hira से बात कर रहे हो. So thank you so much for the great introduction. So and Assalamu alaikum everybody who is on the call. I see 3 people, but I see 15, 18 avatars. So अगर आप में से कोई अपनी video खोल सकता है, so that would be great, because it's always a great experience when you're talking to humans instead of like their names. So no matter how you look, अगर आप अपनी video खोलें, that would be great. If you can't, that's fine. So मेरा नाम हिरा सईद है, हिरा ने आपको बता दिया. I do a couple of things. I have over 8 years of experience in freelance plus / entrepreneurship. Started my career from the in the software industry basically 8 years ago as a digital marketing executive. So wahan se pura career start hua tha, and then 4 years I worked in the corporate sector, and then I said bye bye to it in year 2016, I guess. Uske baad I got involved in the Pakistan startup ecosystem, mentored a lot of startups from the platform of the Nest.io. That's when I started Tech Geeks Pakistan as well. It's a closed group on Facebook for all everybody who identifies as a tech geek. And then 2 years ago, I started another organization called Caterpillars. It's an online accelerator for women-led startups. We help women entrepreneurs become ready. We help them with the business curriculum, one mentorship, anything that I constantly, I think, feel really passionate about. That's my association with the digital world. And that's where basically this entire topic of personal branding come into the picture. I've been creating content on my socials for past 6-7 years now. Call myself an influencer, but I try to use my platform to a meaningful life. Two specialties that I have is basically personal branding and copywriting. I have been consulting clients all over the world for the past 6 years now on their personal branding strategies. Most of them are CEOs who have been doing tremendous work in their own respective fields, but never paid attention to what they should be putting out there as their personal brand. So उसमें मैं उनकी मदद करती हूँ to build them a strategy कि जितना भी काम, जितना भी experience उनके पास है, they start posting it on social and leverage it to bring more business for their companies. And content and copywriting is just, I'm a writer by heart, so I enjoy writing a lot in whatever capacity, be it for myself, be it for sorry, did somebody say something? Okay, so sorry. So that is, I think, that's what my introduction is. Hira, do you want to like take the lead? Like, how
yes.
are we framing this entire conversation?
Sure.
Just like a,
So
are we
Hira,
taking questions or do it?
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so Hira, thank you so much for the introduction. So, like moving on from the introduction, if you can, like, if we, like, I would ask a few questions, and then we will keep it open for everybody to ask questions at whatever time they want to. Like, they can just post it into the comment section, or they can raise their hand and ask. My question right now would be, what exactly personal branding is? If we can break it down to a very minimal level, कि बहुत basic level पे अगर हम कहें, आसान अल्फाज में, सादा अल्फाज में, personal branding exactly है क्या? And अगर वहां से हम इसको बिल्कुल शुरू करते हैं baseline से, and how you take it to the level जहां पर आप अपना कोई startup या business या freelancing whatever you are running, तो उस level पर आप उसको कैसे लेके जाते हो, like step by step अगर हम इसको discuss कर सकें. Hira, are you there?
Sorry, I was on mute. Thank you, Hira. So layman, I can hear you. Am I audible?
Yes.
Anyone? Okay, awesome. So I think it's on. Yeah, so let's start with the very, very big layman definition of what branding is and why do I enjoy it the most. आप लोग को थोड़ा. So when I was in university, I was doing my bachelor's in business. So हमारे marketing की class में एक दफा ये discussion हुई थी, and one of my teachers pointed that out to me, and that's, I think, maybe first kind of like experience or exposure with this word was during that class. So हम obviously ये बात कर रहे थे कि when we'll be graduated, तो कौन कौन किस जगह पे, what's your dream company to work for? I mean, little did I know कि मैं अपनी company खोल लूंगी, but उस time पे when you're in the university आप लोग discussions यही कर रहे होते हैं, what's your dream company? बस यहाँ से मैं graduate हो जाऊंगी तो I'll start applying to all these like top 5, top 10 companies in Pakistan mein. So we were having that discussion. So one of my teachers, advertising ke, his name is Jamil Saeed, one of the best teachers उन्होंने मुझे जो है वो एक चीज बोली थी कि Hira, in did somebody say something? Okay, so उन्होंने मुझे जो है वो एक चीज बोली थी कि Hira, instead of like you chasing companies to find work on your personal brand, so all those companies would come to you. उस टाइम पे मेरी कोई इतनी खास ही बात समझ नहीं आई थी कि why would somebody like reach out to me, and why would all those companies that I really want to work for would start reaching out to me or approaching me to work for them. So basically अब जाकर जब मैं ये पूरा सब काम करती हूँ, so that's when I understand the importance of that statement. कि when you're putting yourself out there with an intention, and that intention can be to find a job, that intention can be to find a client, that intention can be to make more connections, that intention can be to get more leads for your business. Every single time you put yourself out there with that intention, that's when you're taking the first step for your personal brand. उन्होंने मुझे उस टाइम पे ये बात इस तरह से समझाई थी कि अपने पर्सनल ब्रांड पे इस तरह से काम करो कि those companies would come to you and reach out to you and say that if you want to work for them. So that's what personal branding all is for me. And आसान सी अल्फाज में, whenever you add intention to your social media posting, to your digital footprint, to whatever you do online, you are basically adding kind of like a feather in your cap on your personal brand. That's how I see, and that's how I simplify it to all my clients that I work with, that no matter how much you're doing, and a lot of people kind of like say that personal branding is still like tooting your own horn. Acha, maine ye kiya, maine ye kiya, maine ye kiya. But no, it's putting yourself out there, putting your accomplishment, putting your strengths, putting your weaknesses out there to tell people what do you need. That's what personal branding is for me.
So Hira, if I ask like this is something like definition to समझ में आ गई personal branding. अब मेरे दिन में question आता है कि how do I differentiate myself? Like there are so many people who are out there. So अगर मुझे खुद को differentiate करना है, how do I add that one factor about me, or maybe 2 or 3, I don't know what factors those could be, and how that would differentiate me or identify me as a brand?
So मेरे हिसाब से Hira, I do not like using the word like differentiate. ये वाला जो word होता है, especially when it comes to like personal branding, because I feel all of us are different in one way or other. It's just the moment when you realize कि कौन सी ऐसी चीज है that basically sets you apart, and that can be sold for that intention that I mentioned previously, right? कि अगर मैं एक undergraduate हूँ and I started using LinkedIn, for example, to find jobs. मेरी intention is to find a job, and the whole differentiation point would not be कि मैं उनको ये बताना शुरू कर दूं कि I am the one of the best team players in this entire world. जो usually लोग CVs और resumes में लिखते हैं कि the best team players and जो adjectives add करते हैं. I feel that there is no metric to measure कि कौन सबसे ज़्यादा अच्छा team player है. The reason or the narrative that you set, so people would themselves know that this guy can be a really good team player. That can be done through storytelling. That can be done through case studies. That can be done you recording a video and sharing an incident जहाँ पे you prove to be a team player, right? So I don't think so. None of us have to like differentiate ourselves as a personal brand. I think all of us have to be just ourselves, no matter which platform are you using. If you're using social media, if you're using your own website, if you're creating your own portfolio, just be yourself, and self-awareness pe kaam karein. What is that one thing that I offer on the table that I feel would help the intention? So if I need more clients from social media through my personal brand, what is that one thing that would make them purchase from me? So मुझे अब काम करना है to put that one thing out there, not directly कि मैंने बोल दिया कि we are the world's leading or world's best team ever. We'll have to show them how you're the world's best team. उनको बताएं कौन से ऐसे incident पे you handled in such a way that you prove to be a world's best team. How your employees basically talk about you behind your back tells that you're the world's best team, right? So if all of us start being ourselves on social or on digital, and that helps you achieve that one goal जिसके लिए आप personal branding पे काम कर रहे हैं, that would be your differentiation, because all of us have like amazingly different stories to share.
Hira, I have a question in my mind. Like आपकी बात से ही
Hmm.
मेरे ज़हन में क्वेश्चन आया है कि नॉर्मली लाइक
Hmm.
आपने कहा कि हमारा एक सोशल जो है एक डिजिटल मीडिया पे हमारी सोशल मीडिया के ऊपर हमारी एक पर्सनल एक ब्रांडिंग है और एक हमारी जो रियल लाइफ में ब्रांडिंग जो हम लोग जिस तरह से लोगों से मिलते हैं बट मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स व्हेन यू लाइक स्पेशली राइट नाउ कोविड हैज चेंज्ड थिंग्स टू अ लॉट एक्सटेंट बाय नाउ लेकिन स्टिल इफ यू मीट पीपल इन पर्सन दे आर वेरी डिफरेंट पर्सन and when they are like when you if you meet them like to check out their LinkedIn, you check out their Facebook, it's a completely different world. So is cheez ke upar like I like there I believe right now not many people know how and it affects because company when they recruit they check out your social media profiles as well. Like if I'm going to hire somebody, if I'm going to team up with somebody, if I'm going to do a project with
Hmm.
someone, no matter what level you are, you check out these things. So how they can actually understand उनको क्या वो basics हैं जिनको उनको पर उन्हें ख्याल रखने की जरूरत है कि ये चीजें मेरी किस तरीके से होनी चाहिए, हाउ आई कैन लाइक मेक देम लाइक वर्क आउट ऑन अ वे जहाँ पे मैं अपने ब्रांड को प्रॉपरली या अपनी पर्सनल आइडेंटिटी को जो है वो एक शोकेस किस तरह से करना चाहिए.
Yes, that's a really good question, and I think that somehow like हमारी education system में थोड़ा सा gap है जिसमें हमें obviously not gap, I think वो इतनी outdated चीजें हैं कि सब time इतनी तेजी से बदल गया. Nobody taught us के when you're stepping into the professional world out there, लोग आपकी CV को शायद ignore करके आपके LinkedIn को जाके check करने लगते हैं कि, and especially outside Pakistan, that's a very, very, very big thing. And I've seen that personally every single time we're talking to an investor, every single time we're raising fund, and मेरी LinkedIn पे उस company से जो है वो views आना शुरू हो जाते हैं. So that's when I know कि even if I've told them everything in my application, they're still coming on my LinkedIn and checking my profile, which means they just want to dig more. They just want to check my digital footprint कि जो उसने लिखा है वो footprint जिसका digital है उससे justify करता है या नहीं करता. And that's what a lot of good companies in Pakistan do as well. That's where a lot of good companies do not hire employees as well. उनको लगता है कि just because a person XYZ has shared a couple of posts that goes against their values, they don't hire that person. This is why I feel that in today's world and age, whatever you're posting on social media, especially when you carry a public persona, if it is your private profile and you keep it strictly like private, जिसमें आपके friends and family के अलावा कोई है ही नहीं, then it kind of makes sense कि आप जो है वो you're posting whatever you want to post. But if you're maintaining a public personal brand, every single thing that you're posting out there is basically creating your digital footprint. And just because we were not taught in the school on how to do all of these things, I mean digital के world के बारे में जो है वो bachelors में खासतौर पे जो हमारे यहाँ जो engineering की fields हैं, to be very honest, उसमें अगर बंदा कोई कंप्यूटर साइंस पढ़ रहा हो तो उसको समझते हैं कि सारी जिंदगी कमर्शियल में सिर्फ कोडिंग करेगा, उसको आगे का और कुछ बेचना ही नहीं होगा, आगे जाके उसको कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स पे काम नहीं करना होगा, उसको लिंक्डइन का प्रोफाइल कैसे बनाना है ये नहीं पता होगा, तो हम उसे सिर्फ कोडिंग सिखा देते हैं और उसको मार्केट में भेज देते हैं. बट जब वो क्लाइंट के आगे जाके बैठता है तो उसको समझ नहीं आता कि उससे बात किस तरह से करनी है, राइट? So I think this is why the type of fellowships that you are running, that basically equip people into all these exposure, उनको इसी चीजें बताते हैं कि ये भी एक दुनिया है जिसमें आपको actively काम करना है if you wanna stand out. So अगर किसी के पास इन सब चीजों की नॉलेज नहीं है, एंड ऑब्वियसली आई एम श्योर क्योंकि मैंने भी एक बहुत मीडियोकर यूनिवर्सिटी से पढ़ा है कराची में, आई वाज नॉट टॉट एनी ऑफ दीज थिंग्स एट ऑल. सो मैंने सब कुछ खुद जो है वो सीखा है. So I think if somebody wants to really want to dig deep on personal branding, start taking free courses, at least उसके concept समझें. जो मैंने भी आपको बात बताई कि for you it may be a very one off thing कि अच्छा LinkedIn पे बस आपकी presence होनी चाहिए and that's it, आपने updated रखा हुआ है. But you have to understand the more you connect to people on LinkedIn, the more it will open the door of opportunities for you after 10 years, after 15 years, after 6 years. Because nobody is reaching out to you right now, but 10 years down the lane, your name may pop up in their head and say, okay, yeah, मैं किसी का नाम लेती हूँ. Okay, yeah, so Farjad was the guy who I was following on LinkedIn, and I think he posted that. So Rubab was the guy who I was following on LinkedIn, and I think he posted it, so let me reach out to him. And that's what happens most of the times to me as well. I have been called on interviews, मेरे पास podcast invitation आया है with from those people who I haven't even said hi on LinkedIn. They were just connected to me and they were like silently following the journey. And one day they decided कि अच्छा इसको reach out कर लेते हैं, because maybe they were having a conversation at the back end and कहीं से उनको नाम समझ आ गया, अच्छा मैं एक लड़की को जानता हूँ जो ये पोस्ट करती है, let's just call her. So this is how I think this entire personal branding thing works. आप जितना किसी चीज के बारे में intention के साथ पोस्ट करेंगे, जितना लोगों को बताएंगे why exactly you're on the platform, what exactly are you seeking, and what are your strengths and weaknesses are, the moment the opportunity would come, your name would strike in their head. And आपको लग रहा होता है कि nobody is listening to me, nobody is giving me a likes on LinkedIn, nobody is like reading my post. But even if they are giving you the impression by being on their feed, that's all that matters. Because जो लोग engage करते हैं, इसका मतलब है उन्होंने आपने उनसे 3 सेकंड के बाद की attention जो है वो ली है. But even if they're seeing your post on their feed, that's what it matters, right?
Yeah.
I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you did it like very elaborately. अच्छा, एक और question है, it's a very typical like question, especially girls के case में भी, boys के case में भी कहीं ना कहीं exist करता है, पर girls के case में शायद ज़्यादा exist करता है. We do not put our display pictures the same way that we, especially आजकल के दौर में, it's COVID, nobody is going online. अब opportunities, for example, freelancing में बहुत सारे लोग हैं, so opportunities जो आती हैं वो इस तरह ही online आ रही होती हैं. If I'm not going to put up my picture over there, would it affect my personal brand? Would it affect my identity? और अगर मैं, मुझे लगता है कि मेरी family allow नहीं करेगी, how can I fill that gap here?
So अगर family allow नहीं करेगी, तो that's a very different scenario जिसमें I won't be able to comment, because that's the personal choice that you're making. But I think the times and the topic that we are discussing right now, usme I don't think so putting your head short, and whatever way you're comfortable, if you do hijab, if you do niqab, if you do anything, any other, if you don't do anything, you just, your hair is open, just post however you are comfortable in. And एक चीज को और समझने की कोशिश करें कि even if you were not putting your picture out there and you're going for an interview, the person is going to meet you anywhere, right? In however you look. So there is just, there's no barrier वहाँ पे. So अगर आप publicly सबको नहीं दिखाना चाह रहे, so the social media always has an option कि आप सिर्फ friends को दिखा लें, या आप जो है वो आप सिर्फ अपनी profile को बहुत privately रखें. But that's the personal choice I think a person makes. But if you're going for an interview, you're going to talk to that person. आप निकाब में भी वही बात कर सकते हैं, आप हिजाब में वही बात कर सकते हैं, आप बाल खोल के ही बात कर सकते हैं, आप बाल बात के भी कर सकते हैं. I don't see any of these things as an issue. I think whatever a person is comfortable in, that should be. And अगर किसी company को उससे issue है, so that company is not right for you. So आपको वहाँ से वैसे ही नहीं जाना चाहिए interview पे.
Thank you so much, Hira. It was like a normally ये question बार-बार mind में आता, तो really wanted to ask this question. अच्छा, हमारे पास
No, that's a really great point. Yeah.
हमारे ना chat में कुछ questions हैं, so उनमें से first question is, if you can share your journey of starting a company and hurdles, what is the product that you offer at that time?
Okay, so Harun ne pucha, I see it. Thank you so much, Harun. So I started my entrepreneurship journey basically as a freelancer. So in year 2015, I guess, when I was doing my full-time job, मैंने उसी time पे जो है freelancing start कर दी थी. And I was a writer / SEO specialist at that time. So मैंने 1.5 साल काम किया, and then I went to study journalism. Then मैंने जो है journalism की degree लेने के बाद I worked as an independent journalist for a year and a half. And मेरी जो beat थी journalism में वो technology थी, and unfortunately पाकिस्तान में there wasn't like a really good scope for tech news. So मुझे obviously on the financial side it wasn't a really good idea. I was publishing my pieces on all international platforms, but just because I was in Pakistan, I could only cover Pakistani news. तो मुझे कोई खास जो है updates मिलती नहीं थी. उस time पे मैं बात करी 2016 की, जब जो है tech industry इतनी कोई boom पे थी भी नहीं. So I worked as an independent journalist for a year and a half, and then in year 2017, I basically started Tech Geeks Pakistan, and I got the opportunity to go to the US from State Department fellowship. It's called Atlas Core. अगर आप लोग में से कोई explore करना चाहता है, so it's a US based non-profit. What they do is they hunt professionals like you from all over the world, and they place them in the US for a year and a half or 2 year or whatever you choose to, and your host organization choose to. And then you basically work in the US for a couple of years, learn their practices, and come back to Pakistan. So I moved to Silicon Valley, And I came back after almost 2 years, came back here and then started my own another company called Caterpillar. So the company mein pehle chala rahi thi digital doers, I had to um, call it quits because it was just not working out for a lot of reasons. So this is my entrepreneurial journey for in a nutshell. अगर कोई specific सवाल आपको पूछना है तो I'm happy to
Sultan
dig
have a
more.
question, I think.
Hi, Hira, how are
Sultan.
you?
Hi, Sultan. Yeah.
I'm doing good. Have you been able to spin off any of your ventures up till now? It's just a question.
Sorry,
Yeah.
have I been able to what?
Have you been able to spin off any of your ventures that we have been heard or told that you have done 3 or 4 ventures up till now? But have you spinned it off as yet, or you are just running all of them at?
Yeah, so the digital doers ka maine bataya that I closed that company this year. That was the remote agency that I used to run. There was a copywriting agency. So जो मैं अभी introduction में बता रही थी, I had to call it quits this year because of a lot of reasons. So right now I only am full-time involved with Caterpillars. Tech Geeks Pakistan is basically a community work, so that's not a business. It's just the closed group that I run. Is just the community work that I do for the tech industry, and that's it. And I think my personal branding and copywriting is basically freelance. So I have clients that I've been working with for the past 7 years now. So I work with their teams, and I only work as a consultant. So.
Okay. And how was your experience with the fellowship program?
Oh yeah, I think if there's, for the lack of better words, it was life changing. And it's, I know what's a very cliche word to say, but I see it very differently. Not in a way कि वहाँ जाकर जो है West में मेरी कोई दुनिया बदल गई. It's just a way that the type of people that I got to meet during those 2 years, they have shaped my life in a way that I never would have imagined. And वो उसमें पाकिस्तानी लोग भी हैं, उसमें वहाँ के लोग भी हैं, especially the type and the work that I have done for that 2 year का जो 1.5-2 साल का जो भी period था, I've learned so much in those 2 years कि मैं शायद अपने पिछले 6 साल और जो ये 2 साल हैं, I can combine them together, especially on how to work with processes. And Hira may kind of like relatively vouch for it with Caterpillars. We are running this like entire accelerator program, all remote. All the entire team is remote. The entire program is remote. None of us has ever met. There are 3 countries involved. And the only foundation that we sit on is technology and is processes. So nothing is basically upar niche, sab kuch remotely chal raha hai. That's, I think, what I've learned from there,
Okay,
how
that's
to work
very
on
good.
processes.
Very good. Actually, I'm running a few co-working spaces of my own, and I have a little incubator of my own as well. So I haven't been able to accelerate a few companies or even one company, but I have been able to incubate a few. So I've been working on my brand since last 2.5 years. It's called Startup Co-works. It's
Okay, what's the
basically
name of
based in,
your co-working?
it's called Startup Co-works.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Is that in
basically
Karachi?
Islamabad. No, it's basically Islamabad, Rawalpindi based, and we have a small footprint in Lahore as well. But
Okay.
it's not that functional in Lahore, but in Rawalpindi, Islamabad, we are a bit known as well, and we have been here for the last 2.5 years. But initial 1.5 year was very tough due to the COVID as well. But the last 6 months, they have been very progressive. So you are doing a great work as well, and it's my first time here. I just popped into a group, so there was a link, and I just joined. I didn't know what was going to happen, but it was very nice to see people and taking use of the technology as well. And I'll definitely be want to part of that. If in any case we can help or we can collaborate, that will be something nice. So
yes, for sure. I'm happy to talk further. If you're a part of Tech Geeks Pakistan, maybe you'll find my profile from there.
No, I'm not part of the Geek or any forum
I
like
can
that.
share with you, Sultan. Like,
Sorry?
I can share the details with you, and like I can put you in contact with
that
him.
will be very useful.
Okay.
Yeah, and for the topic of this conversation, I create like a lot of content on my Instagram about personal branding. So that's where
Okay,
you'll
then
find further
I'll go
deeds. Yeah,
through, definitely I'll go through it as well.
yeah.
I'll pass on to the others as well, and I hope they'll be waiting for their turns. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you, Sultan.
Thank you.
Acha, Hira,
Thank you,
there
Salam.
is one more question that I have. So, regarding coming back to personal branding again. So, personal branding के अंदर अगर मैं इसको कहूँ कि if we have to divide personal branding into certain components, what components those could be?
I think the components for me would be to first of all to find your why. Why do you want to build your personal brand? That is completely fine if you do not want to do it. I mean, everybody who is on the call, the whole conversation is not about everybody should have a personal brand. If you do not intend to achieve something out of it, that is totally fine to preserve your digital footprint and don't do anything. So finding the why do you want to, why do you do what you do, and then putting it out there with an intention is the first thing. And also leveraging the existing resources you have. That's one thing that I always like suggest to all my clients. So one of the biggest mistakes that we do is, okay, so recently all of you must have heard that Clubhouse aa gaya tha, and everybody was jumping on creating and hosting the rooms. And first it was on iOS, and then recently Android पे announce हुआ है. And I think 6 महीने बाद कोई और कुछ आ जाएगा, and उसके 10 साल बाद फिर और कोई आ जाएगा. So the way all these platforms जिन पे basically जो है हम बात करते हैं, and मैं social media पे अभी fixated इसलिए हूँ because that's one of the biggest component of you putting your digital stuff out there. बहुत सारे लोग अपनी website के जरिए भी करते हैं, बहुत सारे लोग Dribble और बहुत सारी जो websites हैं उन पे portfolio बनाते हैं, जो programmers हैं वो अपना जो है वो different जगह पे profile maintain रखते हैं. So no matter which platform are you choosing, अगर आप industry specific platform choose कर रहे हैं या फिर आप जो है general social media use कर रहे हैं, I think what matters is instead of like going wide on all the social media, go deep on one social media, because all of them, all of their the platforms are like so different and so distinctive that one of the biggest mistakes we do is we post everything everywhere, and then we get disappointed that we are not getting job offers, nobody is reaching out to us with the leads, and it's just whatever effort that you're putting in is just basically going to waste. What works for me and what has been working for all my clients, we basically in the first quarter we decide, okay, so this is the one channel that we are going to work on for the next 6 months, and we don't care what people are saying on the other channels. If you feel, and इसका सबसे important part क्या है, आपको ये decide करना कि आपकी audience, वो audience recruiters भी हो सकते हैं, वो audience clients भी हो सकते हैं, वो audience जो है वो different programmers और different designers जिनसे आपको connection बनाना है, वो audience basically जाती कहाँ है. वो लिंक्डइन पे जाती है, वो फेसबुक पे जाती है, वो इंस्टाग्राम पे हैंग आउट कर रही होती है, या फिर वो डिस्कॉर्ड की कम्युनिटी में होती है, या फिर वो रेडिट पे होती है. जहां पे भी आपको पता चल गया कि वो लोग जिनसे मुझे मतलब है या मुझे काम है वो इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे होते हैं, that's the platform that I'm going to focus on. I will not just go ahead and start creating like 16 platform on 16 profiles and 16 platforms, because then you will get overwhelmed and you won't start. So a good starter point and a very good personal brand is always focused on one platform. You ace that one platform and फिर आप उसके बाद जो है दूसरे platform पे start कर सकते हैं. So I think a few things that I'd highlight here is just find out your why. Why do you wanna use personal brand? Intention क्या है? And then second, उस पे जो है आपको एक platform choose करें, and then start small, start with that platform. And तीसरा, I think सबसे important is the authenticity in what you're posting. What a lot of people do, आप में से कितने लोग हैं जो कि गैरी वी को जानते हैं यहाँ पे? If you just ऐसे raise hand कर लें या फिर जो feature है वो कर लें. Gary Vaynerchuk को, you guys know him, that influencer.
No one.
रुमैल आप कुछ कह रहे हैं? You guys don't? Okay, so मैं जो है वो गैरी की वो शेयर कर देती हूँ आपसे, if you guys want to follow him. And I'm sharing the LinkedIn profile, but you can obviously follow him wherever you want.
Perfect.
So Gary is basically, especially in Hamari community mein, when it comes to personal branding, when it comes to creating content out there for people, he's the god of it. So people quote his examples of how he has built uh, his personal brand all over the platforms, and so distinctively that every single time people see a type of content, they associate it with Gary. Okay, that's like basically Gary's style content. And especially the way he uses words, especially the way he addresses to people, especially the way he's hyper on a lot of problems, and how he converts problem into small solution and post everything out there. That's basically the authenticity. And a lot of people say कि अच्छा वो बात में जो है वो F word बहुत use करता है and you shouldn't use it. But I see it this way. That's what his authenticity is. If he is doing it in daily life, he's just putting it out there. And if you people don't like it, people just don't follow him. People like seeing the message behind what he's saying. People follow him. So I think whoever you are online should be the person who you are online, because people will catch you anyway, because it's just those who will get to meet you in person, they will eventually realize that you're not the person who you portray online. And that's where a lot of personal brands fall apart. आपने देखा भी होगा कि बहुत सारे जो celebrities होते हैं, कुछ होते हैं जो कि जिनके पास बहुत बड़ी following होती है, उनके personal brand strong होते हैं, and then you see how they treat people behind the camera, and then you realize, okay, so that was all a facade. That guy is not who I pretended it to be. But as professionals, what your values are, what do you stand for, what do you do professionally, जो चीजें आपके दिमाग में हैं, दिल में, and what you do, I think that's what you should be posting on your personal brand. So every single time somebody looks at your profile, be it Instagram, be it LinkedIn, they get the idea of what that person is, what he does, and what exactly does he need from me. So maybe I'll start feel related to you. So अगर मैं किसी entrepreneur को follow करती हूँ, and what is the reason I am following her or him? Because of his journey, because of the struggles that he has shared, because of the content he posts, because of how I can add value to him. So right. So finding your why, then figuring out which platform you want to focus on, and also be as authentic as possible, because your जो कहते हैं ना, your vibe will attract your tribe. That's what it is basically.
ठीक हो गया. अच्छा हिरा, यहाँ पे हमारे पास 2-3 क्वेश्चंस हैं regarding the platforms by Rubab and by Vasilias. If you will address that, it's like what platform do you suggest to start from for personal branding, and does the choice of platform depend on our personal preference?
So Avais ने पूछा है, right? So Rubab ने पहले पूछा है, what platforms do you suggest to start? So if you are professionals, I would highly recommend you to start with LinkedIn. Pakistan में still LinkedIn उस तरह से use नहीं होता, but if you want to quote me on this, you can quote me on this, that LinkedIn is a gold mine. It's still a gold mine that nobody is paying attention to in terms of job posts, in terms of finding people, in terms of reaching out to people, in terms of finding good content out there. So if you really asking this question in terms of like professionally, I would say start with LinkedIn. But if you really wanna, if you're in a creative field and you wanna literally have a conversation with someone and be updated कि चल क्या रहा है, updates क्या है, क्योंकि Twitter is a very fast platform. So उस पे आपको इतना खास personal brand build नहीं कर पाते. A lot of people use Twitter for a one-way communication. कि एक politician है, उसको बस एक message throw करना है to announce something, he will resort to Twitter. But अगर आप creative field से हैं, I would highly recommend to start creating your audience on Instagram, because Instagram it works on creatives, it works on faces, it works on good pictures, and works on the, I would say, the aesthetic side of it. So depends on what your industry is, what your preferences are, but on a surface level, a general advice would be to start with LinkedIn.
Okay, Rubab have a question. I think one more. Rubab.
क्वेश्चन नहीं है, मैं बस आपकी बात में ना ऐड करना चाह रही थी. जब भी आप कह रहे थे कि लिंक्डइन जो है वो एक ट्रेजर है, तो मैंने अपने लिंक्डइन प्रोफाइल मेरे ख्याल 1 साल पहले स्टार्ट की थी, और वो इतनी अच्छी नहीं है बिकॉज मुझे आइडिया नहीं था, लेकिन मैंने उससे बहुत से जॉब प्रपोजल जो है वो लिए हैं. तो बिकॉज मेरा ई कॉमर्स के साथ थोड़ा है रिलेशनशिप, तो उसके हवाले से, हालांकि मेरी प्रोफाइल इतनी बुरी थी लेकिन मुझे फिर भी ऑफर्स आती हैं, दो कि मैं उनको एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर पाई बिकॉज मेरे पास टाइम नहीं था. लेकिन मैं बताना चाह रही हूँ कि आपकी बात बिल्कुल ऑथेंटिक है कि लिंक्डइन जो है वो वाकई ट्रेजर है, अगर कोई इसको प्रॉपर्ली जो है वो एक्सप्लोर करे.
Thank you, Ruba.
Yeah.
Okay, I have one more question to ask. It's actually like to make it comprehensive for everybody. Hira, can you share a case study where we can like kind of understand, like agar hum case study example ki form mein, where you have helped somebody to build a brand or a personal branding? It could be individual or it could be a business or startup, like howsoever you think that would be best right now for us. So it would be a good thing maybe for us as a food of thought. And so yeah.
So, I mean, I can show you a couple of, but is this session being recorded? I don't think so. If I can
Yes, it is
share it,
being
because those are
recorded
all my
and it will be
clients.
shared online and also to the fellows afterwards as well. I'll upload it.
Also, I cannot share like a couple of like my clients here then.
So I can
How
stop
do you
the
wanna?
recording. Meanwhile, would that be okay?
Yeah, that would be fine. And it looks good. Just start creating relevant content on LinkedIn and start posting. Shuru mein nobody would like it, nobody would give you a thumbs up, but sooner or later they will. And and just don't create content for the sake of it. Create it with an intention. What do you want to achieve in the long term? 3 महीने बाद आपको इस पूरी effort का goal क्या चाहिए?
I have a very different question, Hera. Thank you so much for sharing it. It was a great insight. I believe everybody get a good idea about के basically personal branding है क्या. अब कुछ थोड़ा बहुत I think clear हो गया होगा. Anybody have questions? Please feel free to ask since we are in the last 10-15 minutes. Hera, मेरा question आपसे भी ये था कि like you are working in a gig that is very different. Like not many people even think of it as कि इसमें भी is actually कुछ किया जा सकता है. Like all of these people over here right now, they are either aspiring to be entrepreneur, freelancers, or like moving forward right now कि अभी अपने career को आगे लेके चलें. What do you suggest as a profession? How does it like is in your experience it is, and how much you would recommend it to the others if they want to join it? एक तो है कि हम अपनी personal branding खुद करें, and then joining it as a career.
So I don't think, I mean, मैं सवाल थोड़ा समझी नहीं. Are you asking if they can like become like a personal branding coach or consultant, or?
Yeah, consultancy more like that, like the people who doesn't know like how to, like the way you are doing it, like I don't know if I know so many people in my, like I do know few people, but they are like again very few. So like how much is like the career opportunities out there if the people really want to work in this, like in this domain, like the way you are doing, the way you have make your name. So can they look forward to that?
So I think with this type of field, especially जहाँ पे आप, मैंने as a consultant slash coach जो है वो काम करना पिछले 1-2 साल में शुरू किया है. Before उसके पहले मैं services ही provide करती थी basically. So I think to become a coach or consultant, 2-3 चीजें important होती हैं. Either you have like a track record of years to prove as a service that this is what I've done and this is why what I say about this specific thing matters. क्योंकि आपके पास जो है वो एक kind of like a social proof है उसके लिए. And that's what I had, because just because I was working in the field थोड़े time से, तो मेरी अपनी personal branding पे काम हुआ था. या तो वो चीज हो, या फिर आपने obviously certifications ली हुई हो जिसमें आप किसी एक टॉपिक को घोल के पी लेते हैं, फिर आपको अंदाजा हो जाता है कि this is how it works. So I think as a career, I don't see it as like as something जिसको मैं ऐसे ही recommend कर दूं. If you really feel that you're passionate about branding in general, I think then you can read more about how people carry their personal brands, and also do not just go ahead and start like teaching people what a personal brand is when your own personal brand is not up to the mark. Because the first thing this industry wants, and that is basically with every industry, especially creative industries. Every single time you tell people what you do, the first thing is they ask, "So where do you do it? Do you have a portfolio? Where can I see the websites that you've built? Where can I see the portfolio of your designs?" So if you're asking people that I'll help you with your personal brand, the first thing they will do is they'll go ahead and check your personal brand. So I think if you're asking it to choose as a career option, I would highly recommend you to start working on your personal brand. And once you feel that you have learned the ins and outs of it, then maybe you can package it as a service and start selling it.
Thank you, Hira. That answers a lot. That answers my question. I really want to ask one very interesting thing. Rubab, you have a question? You want to go first? You have raised your hand.
I think वो पहले पूछा था उसने.
Okay, okay. So no problem. Okay. What I wanted to ask here, Hira, like if you have like this thing that okay, after this session, you want to give an activity or something like that to the fellows after who are here, that we can even ask them to do like afterwards to go through this exercise of personal branding. What that exercise you would like them to go through? It could be relevant to anything. Maybe creating their LinkedIn. I don't know, like or like what that small or short exercise that they can do and that they can take at least one step towards personal branding.
So I can share something for all of them to kind of work on, especially just because we created such hype of LinkedIn. So if you want to take a screenshot, you can take a screenshot of this. This is the LinkedIn checklist that I share with my clients, and this would help you to get started with your LinkedIn. Before you go ahead and start worrying about a lot of things, ये कुछ चीजें अपने पास जमा कर लें कि आपका हेडशॉट कौन सा होगा. अगर प्रोफेशनल पिक्चर नहीं है तो सनग्लासेस वाली पिक्चर लिंक्डइन पे ना लगाएं खुदा के लिए. नहीं भी है तो वेट करें, जाकर खिंचवाएं, दोस्त को 500 रुपए दे दें, उसके पास कैमरा होगा, और जो है दरख्त के आगे खिंचवाएं और बैकग्राउंड रिमूव कर लें उसका. बट
Hira, are you there?
yeah, I can you guys not hear me?
Yeah, I lost you like after like picture दोस्त से पैसे देके लगवानी है उसके बाद.
Okay. So yeah, I was saying that even if you don't have a good picture, अपने दोस्त को 500 रुपए दें और दरख्त के आगे खड़े हुए खिंचवा लें, and then बाद में उसका बैकग्राउंड रिमूव कर लिएगा. But प्लीज सनग्लासेस वाली तस्वीर ना लगाएं लिंक्डइन पे. फिगर आउट कि आपका हेडशॉट क्या होगा. एक बहुत प्रोफेशनल हेडशॉट होना चाहिए that represents you, and smile in the picture. अच्छी हो, कलरफुल हो, and then headline पे काम करें. अगर समझ नहीं आ रही, I know कि मैं assumption में बोल देती हूँ because I am a writer. But अगर नहीं समझ आ रहा वहाँ पे क्या लिखना है, just search for a couple of people, just search the fellow developers, fellow designer, fellow entrepreneurs. वो किस तरह से explain करते हैं अपने काम को. उनसे इंस्पिरेशन लेके अपनी हेडलाइन बनाएं. फीचर्ड पोस्ट का लिंक्डइन पे जो सेक्शन है, कोई ऐसे आर्टिकल जो कि आपको बहुत अच्छे हों, बहुत पसंद हों, कोई ऐसे पोस्ट जो बहुत पसंद हो, उनको जाके फीचर कर दें अपनी प्रोफाइल पे. अपने क्रेडेंशियल्स को अप टू डेटेड रखें. नो मैटर हाउ स्मॉल द वर्क, इवन इफ इट इज वॉलंटियर वर्क, इवन इफ इट इज the unpaid intern or paid intern or anything, just add anything on LinkedIn. Just showcase what you have done, talk about what you've achieved in that organization, and जितना authentic कर सकते हैं. A lot of people just kind of like feel कि उनको ये चीज बता देंगे तो किसी को बुरा लग सकता है, ये चीज बता देंगे किसी को अच्छा लग सकता है. मेरा इस पे सवाल ये होता है कि if you want, tell it right now, and the moment you get hired in a company, people would eventually know who you are. So it's better to be as authentic as possible. And पिछले अगर किसी लोगों के साथ काम किया है कंपनी में, उनसे जो है वो recommendations मांगे on LinkedIn. उनको recommendations दें और उनसे recommendations मांगे. Ideal way कि आप उनको recommendation लिख के दे दें and उनसे बोलें कि मुझे send कर दो. If you guys would be in a really good relationship, they'll most probably send you the recommendation. And yeah, I think that's it. इस checklist को if you wanna follow, go ahead and do it. इसको as an exercise भी आप लोग कर सकते हैं. And if you need any extra,
You have written CTA after recommendations. What was that?
Yeah, so CTA is basically every single time you go on LinkedIn, there has to be like at least one plug. हम उसको plug भी कह सकते हैं और CTA भी कह सकते हैं. और basically होता है कि आपने किसी को अपनी CV डाउनलोड करने को कह दी, कोई वेबसाइट विजिट करने को कह दी, कोई पोर्टफोलियो अगर आपने बनाया हुआ है जहाँ पे जो आप LinkedIn पे डायरेक्टली नहीं डाल सकते. जो डिजाइनर है वो Behance पे Dribbble पे अपने लोगों वो पोर्टफोलियो बनाए रहते हैं. राइटर्स का मीडियम का प्रोफाइल होता है. Anything that you cannot add on LinkedIn but you really would like somebody else to see it, उसको आप as a call to action डालें कि for more details आप यहाँ जाके मेरा ये प्रोफाइल देख सकते हैं और पोर्टफोलियो देख सकते हैं.
Very well. I believe, Hira, this is a very interesting assignment, and Rumail, I believe we can do that, right? So I think Harun have a question.
For sure.
Okay, so Harun,
क्वेश्चन तो है मेरा, थोड़ा irrelevant क्वेश्चन है, तो मैं सब स्टैंड पे पूछ लूंगा कि जब सेशन एंड होने के पास होगा तब मैं पूछ लूंगा।
Last 5 minutes, so you can ask.
अच्छा ठीक है, मैं पूछ लेता हूँ। मैम हीरा, आपका डिफरेंट कहते हैं कंपनी का एक्सपीरियंस रहा हुआ है। मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि मेरा एक बिजनेस आइडिया है कि मैं डिफरेंट जो कंपनीज एक्सपोर्ट करती हैं अपने प्रोडक्ट्स को, उनसे मैं चाहता हूँ कि उनकी जो एक्सपोर्ट के प्रोडक्ट है मैं उन्हें इंस्टाग्राम वगैरह पे किस तरह सेल करूँ। लेकिन अब मुझे ये नहीं समझ आ रहा कि हम कहते हैं उनसे किस तरह लिंक करूँ या फिर उनके कहते हैं प्रोडक्ट्स को किस तरह बाय करूँ। मुझे आइडिया नहीं हो रहा कि मतलब एक तो अगर आप प्लेटफॉर्म यूज़ करते हैं जैसे अमेजोन हो गए या फिर डिफरेंट ये चाइना का जो है अलीबाबा, इनसे मैं मंगवा लेता हूँ डिफरेंट प्रोडक्ट अपनी, लेकिन वो मुझे महंगी पड़ेगी। अब पाकिस्तान में जो कंपनीज है जैसे जैसे शर्ट्स क्लोथिंग क्लोथिंग वगैरह की कंपनीज हैं, उनसे मैं कोई प्रोडक्ट खरीदना चाहता हूँ तो मैं उनसे किस तरह, बीइंग अ स्मॉल इन्वेस्टर, तो क्या मैं उन्हें कोई ईमेल करूँ कि सर इस तरह मेरा आइडिया है, इतनी मैं इन्वेस्टमेंट करना चाहता हूँ, या फिर क्या करना चाहिए मुझे?
So, Harun naam tha, right? Harun, I may not be the right person to answer this question because I literally have zero experience in e-commerce industry. I mean, I know how it works, but मैं कोई आपको filmy सी opinion नहीं दूंगी. That won't add any value to what you're asking. But there is a community of extreme commerce on Facebook. If you follow that, Sunny Ali चलाते हैं वो. So maybe आप यही same चीज वहां जाकर डाल दें, and I think a lot of people who will have better knowledge than me would be able to answer your question. अगर आप अभी उस community पे नहीं हैं.
Yeah.
ठीक है।
And Harun, we can discuss that afterwards as well. Like आपका कोई question specifically personal branding के ऊपर कोई question है किसी का regarding LinkedIn, regarding Hira, like everything that we have covered in this session so far. Guys, this is the final like last couple of minutes. I would like to ask like if anybody would you like to ask?
I'm having a question. Like for example, I'm currently a university student और I'm running a personal page जिसमें मैंने अपने नाम से एक पेज बनाया हुआ है, like public figure, एक पेज बनाया हुआ है अपने स्टार्टअप के नाम पे ना। तो it is not being possible for me to handle both the pages. एक स्टार्टअप में उसमें चला रहा हूँ, उसमें पोस्ट कर रहा हूँ, उसके लिए एक पोस्ट डिजाइन कर रहा हूँ मैं, और एक पोस्ट में डिजाइन कर रहा हूँ अपने पर्सनल पेज के लिए फॉर एग्जाम्पल। तो पर्सनली आई थिंक कि आप अपना पर्सनल ब्रांडिंग ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है। अगर खुद पर्सनल ब्रांड बन जाओगे आप तो आपके लिए ईजी होगा अपने एक स्टार्टअप को ग्रो करना इजीली। तो व्हाट डू यू सजेस्ट कि पहले अपने पर्सनल ब्रांड को बनाया जाए और फिर अपने स्टार्टअप को बनाया जाए, या पहले स्टार्टअप पे फोकस किया जाए?
That's a really good question, Ramel, and I get this a lot, to be very honest. लोग अपने जो है वो दो Instagram के प्रोफाइल चला रहे होते हैं because they feel कि यहाँ पे भी डालूं content, वहाँ पे भी डालूं, कितना content बनाऊं. That's a really good question, and that's a very right concern as well. So I feel, in my opinion, and I think you answered your question yourself as well, when you start creating a community around you, no matter whatever you'll try to sell, if people trust you, if they know you are a legit person, if they know you're an authentic person, they'll most probably buy from you. So कल को अगर तुम abc.com के नाम से बेचो या xyz.com के नाम से बेचो, at one point in time they will start purchasing from Rumail, right? Forgive me if I'm pronouncing it wrong. They will start purchasing from Rumail instead of like XYZ or ABC या जो भी नाम, right? So consider it this way, Elon Musk कल को अपनी कंपनी का नाम जो है वो बोरिंग कंपनी भी रख सकता है, and people still trust that that company would do wonders, right?
Okay, thank you so much.
Boring company, अगर आप किसी को बोलें तो बोलें कि yeah, why would somebody would invest energy? So I think work on your personal brand and then leverage it जब तुम्हारे पास enough resources होंगी to work on your startup pages.
Thank you.
Okay, so with that, I would request everybody to open up your cameras and we can take a one group photo with Hira. Okay, let me just change the view. Just get rid of view. Okay, so everyone, very well. So Harun, are you opening up your camera? Kainat, Hamza, Sagar? Or like on the count of 3, I will go. 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much, Hira. It has been a wonderful session. Like I really learned a lot myself in the whole session, and I hope this will be very handy for each one of us to implement it in our personal lives as well as in our professional journey, as well as in our startup journeys as well. So looking forward to connect with you again as well, inshallah. And I would like to ask you that if in case any fellows wants to get connected with you, would you be okay? I can share your LinkedIn and your email with them.
Yes, I think my email would be fine. मैं जो है वो डाल देती हूँ कुछ chat box में. And hello@hirasaeed.com. You can just email me whenever you want. For instant message पे बात करनी है तो Instagram is a better place because मेरा Facebook का messenger is a mess. So मैंने Instagram kind of भी डाल दिया है. So I'm readily available, but I may take some time to respond, but I will respond.
Thank you so much, Hira. And once again, those who
Okay.
are interested in tech, I really recommend Tech Geek wali jo inki community hai. Like I'm running community ourselves, but I really appreciate your community, Hira. And I hope and believe in anything.
Let me just share the link of Tech Geeks as well.
Sure.
Yeah, just a second.
Like those who are interested in anything regarding that, there is always something interesting going on in that group that is you can learn from just by going through some chat. Scroll up and down, then you will find something interesting.
Yeah, and we're always looking for like moderators because this is a community work and I don't earn a penny from this. So if any of you have like spare time to moderate the community, to host a session, to do anything here, feel free to ping me. This community is open for all. I just run it, but to be very honest, people run it. So if at any point you want to help something, just do the community work. So maybe you can reach out to me, and I'm happy to facilitate that for you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Hira. Once again, it was wonderful having you. And with that, Allah Hafiz, I would say everybody. And
thank you so much for having me.
Inshallah. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Thank you so much.